profiles on a dating app, your finger habitually swiping left to weed out candidates. You are absolutely sure you are looking for a soulmate, but your brain is actually busy doing something else entirely. It is conducting a strict audit of genetic material. Back in the Paleolithic era, there were no algorithms. The biological Tinder ran purely on instincts, and the price of a wrong swipe was the complete extinction of your bloodline. The romance we sing about in pop songs is just a beautiful marketing trick invented by evolution. It is designed to hide the cold, hard calculations hardwired into us by the Ice Age. When you catch yourself staring at a symmetrical face or an athletic build, you are not actually admiring aesthetics. You are reading biological metrics of health, immunity, and the ability to hunt down a mammoth without dying from the first winter cold. Driven by millions of years of evolution, the female gaze learned to look for reliability and resources. It looked for anything that could ensure the survival of offspring in a world where winter could literally last a lifetime. The male gaze, in turn, locked onto signs of fertility. The ultimate biological mission was to pass the genetic baton forward before the next glacial apocalypse wiped everyone out. Every single like you give is an echo of ancient battles fought for the right to continue our species. We are the descendants of the pickiest hunters and the most calculating gatherers. Those who chose with their hearts instead of their instincts simply did not leave behind any descendants to talk about feelings today. Your taste in partners is not a quirk of your upbringing or a fashion trend. It is a strict security protocol written entirely in the language of DNA. So why do we still get butterflies in our stomach when we meet the one? That is just a clever hormonal cocktail nature spikes our blood with, just to make sure we do not run away from responsibility too soon. Falling in love is a biological trap designed to keep us together just long enough to ensure the next generation survives. We are basically hostages to our own neurotransmitters, forcing us to make strategic survival choices under the disguise of noble, romantic impulses. But here is the crazy part. 95. Modern gadgets have simply pushed this process to the point of absurdity, turning the search for a partner into a never-ending conveyor belt. Yet behind those glowing pixels hides the exact same ancient anxiety. The desperate need to secure your place in the world before evolution flips the hourglass over again. You think you're making your own choices, but in reality, you are just acting out a script written thousands of years before electricity was even invented. And while you are busy philosophizing about high ideals, deep in your subconscious, an ancient hunter is carefully inspecting a potential tribe member. That hunter is calculating the odds of success in a brutal world where every single day could easily be your last. So what is your next swipe going to be, now that you know every gesture hides thousands of years of bloody struggle for a place under the sun? Forget about flawless skin and Instagram filters. Back in the Stone Age, your main beauty influencers were parasites and deadly viruses. While you are searching for that perfect smile, your brain is acting like a ruthless customs officer, scanning the candidate's face for biological flaws. This is where symmetry steps in as the ultimate indicator of stability. Think of a human face like the blueprint of a building. If the left side is sagging and the right side sticks out at a weird angle, it means something went terribly wrong during construction. Maybe your future soulmate caught a nasty infection in childhood that messed up their developmental settings, or maybe their genes simply could not handle the environmental stress. For your ancestors, a crooked face was not just a cosmetic flaw. It was a massive red flag screaming that this person is easy prey for the next passing plague. Symmetry is essentially a biological barcode for genetic resilience. It whispers to your subconscious, telling you that this person survived every childhood disease without falling apart. Evolution absolutely loves people with bulletproof immune systems, the ones who can survive a bacterial siege without losing any structural integrity. That is exactly why we are subconsciously drawn to even features, mislabeling them as just being attractive. It is not about aesthetics at all. It is about life insurance. If your potential date has a slightly crooked nose and eyes that seem to live in different time zones, your subconscious instantly tags them as a high-risk asset. But a perfectly oval face, clear skin, and bright eyes? The darkness. That is a certificate of perfect health issued by nature itself. And this mechanism operates with the precision of a Swiss watch. We read bone density, the condition of their teeth, and even the shine of their hair as direct readouts of testosterone and estrogen levels. It is a brutal biological audit that happens in a fraction of a second. While you are politely smiling at your date across the table, your internal scanner has already delivered a verdict on whether your genetic union will survive reality. We are not looking for a pretty picture. We are hunting for a reliable partner whose genotype will not crash when things get really bad. It is the ruthless dictate of survival beautifully wrapped in the illusion of sympathy. And if you think your heart is beating faster just because they have pretty eyes, think again. That is just your internal military strategist celebrating the discovery of premium genetics. After all, in a world where every rainy season could be your last, picking a high-quality partner was the only way to keep your bloodline out of the evolutionary graveyard. And that brings us to the ultimate question. Are you ready to admit that your epic love story is just the successful result of a 1-second genetic scan? Now, picture yourself holding a massive chunk of fresh meat. In a world where refrigerators do not exist and tomorrow's lunch is purely theoretical, you have a choice. Do you stuff your face all by yourself, or do you share it with your neighbor? From the perspective of a dominant alpha male, the first option seems completely logical. Why feed a bunch of freeloaders when you can throw an epic feast for one? But evolution is a lady with a very dark sense of humor, and she quickly taught those egoists a lethal lesson. While the lone glutton was busy digesting his meal, his social competitors were out there building networks. Sharing food in the Paleolithic era was never an act of kindness. It was the most profitable investment strategy in human history. You give a steak to a weaker tribe member today. Tomorrow, when you twist your ankle or miss your throw on a hunt, that same person brings you roots to eat or fights off a predator for you. The darkness. It was an economy built entirely on trust, where calories were the main currency and the interest on your deposit was your actual life. Selfish leaders who hoarded all the resources lost the long game. Their power was built entirely on fear, not loyalty. When the freezing winter finally hit, those kings found themselves completely alone. Meanwhile, a tightly knit group survived simply because they had each other's backs. Empathy became the ultimate biological hack. It allowed us to evolve from scattered groups of primates into the dominant species on Earth. The ability to feel what someone else is feeling is actually the power to predict an ally's behavior. That gave early humans a massive, unfair advantage in the wild. Those who were completely cold and heartless simply could not build coalitions. And in the Stone Age, a lone wolf is not a badass warrior. A lone wolf is just a quick snack for a saber-toothed cat. Your ability to show compassion is not just good social etiquette. It is a razor-sharp survival mechanism forged over thousands of years that literally saved your bloodline from extinction. 95. Imagine you are running a startup, but your venture capital is raw meat and the open market is the deadly savannah. The guy who invests in relationships gets dividends paid out in physical protection, crucial information, and backup. Altruism turned out to be the most aggressive growth strategy imaginable. Those who understood the power of a social network passed their genes into the future, while the egoists became a dead end on the evolutionary tree. So the next time you are deciding whether to help a coworker or ignore their request, remember something. You are not just being polite. You are running an ancient software program that helped your ancestors survive the Ice Age. And if empathy is such a powerful asset, why do we constantly try to devalue it and call it a weakness? Maybe this supposed weakness is the exact key that opened the door to our future. We became the masters of the planet simply because we learned how to share at the right time. But are you willing to risk your own personal comfort for a long-term alliance, knowing that this exact choice is what made us human in the first place? We are currently trapped by our own progress. Your brain is an incredibly powerful computer running an operating system designed for the open savannah, but it has been forcefully shoved into a modern shell of neural networks, instant messengers, and the World Wide Web. Imagine trying to run a high-end modern video game on a pocket calculator from the night. The screen freezes, the fans are screaming, and the system keeps throwing critical errors. That is basically our everyday reality. The ancient hunter inside you is still waiting for a danger signal every time you see a missed call notification. And every time you get a like on social media, your brain dumps a hit of dopamine like you just found a tree full of ripe fruit in the middle of a starving winter. We live in a world where physical threats are practically zero. But your neurons keep panicking, entirely convinced there is a giant predator waiting right around the corner. Digital culture has turned social approval into a literal currency. But for our ancestors, getting the attention of the tribe was a matter of life and death. If you were an outcast back then, you were as good as dead. Today, we mindlessly scroll through our feeds, desperate for recognition. Every little heart icon acts as a cheap surrogate for actual tribal status. We have dragged our primal survival instincts straight into the metaverse. Your spear is now a mouse cursor, and your cave is a cozy apartment with food delivery on speed dial. But here is the crazy paradox. Our baseline anxiety never drops. We built an environment where everything is instantly available, yet our core drivers still demand scarcity. We literally get bored when things are going well. Because evolution never taught us how to relax. It only taught us how to run endlessly toward the horizon. Now we are facing a massive dilemma. Is it even possible to hack our own firmware? We try to meditate, hit the gym, and limit our screen time, desperately trying to trick our own neural pathways. It is an attempt to negotiate with that ancient hunter who is still demanding blood, mammoth meat, and absolute guarantees of safety. But so far, we are just decorating the cage we are trapped in. We have become slaves to algorithms that know our biological weaknesses far better than we do. They press our instinctual buttons with terrifying precision. They force us to endlessly consume content just so we can feel like we still belong to the pack. The real battle of the future is not going to happen in outer space. It is going to happen right inside your head. We either learn how to consciously filter out the impulses gifted to us by millions of years of brutal survival, or we simply become a biological appendage to an endless stream of data. Can we actually break out of this cycle? A cycle where every single click is just a desperate attempt to close a psychological loop that opened back in the Paleolithic era. Maybe it is time to admit that we are not the crown jewel of creation. We might just be a transitional link between primal fear and complete digital addiction. The question is no longer about how to survive the jungle. It is about how to keep our human identity in a world where algorithms know exactly what choice we are going to make, a full second before we even realize it ourselves. Will we become the true architects of our own desires? Or are we doomed to remain hostages of an evolutionary legacy that simply could not adapt to the speed of light at which information travels today?